Welcome to Home Farm. It's a chilly autumn morning and we're out in the front and we're going to unpack this Husqvarna battery operated pole saw to help us start doing some much needed winter pruning. So after seeing some really excellent reviews and getting some really good recommendations from social media about the Husqvarna products in general, we got a lot of recommendations from professional gardeners who use the Husqvarna pole saw and hedge trimmer. So we've ordered both. This is the pole saw. The hedge trimmer, I believe, is coming in about a month's time. It's been delayed by 2 months by the supplier, unfortunately. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll get it in end of October, beginning of November time. And the pole saw is basically something that we've ordered because this one goes up to 4 meters as a length. Yeah. And we're really hoping it's going to help prevent us from using ladders in dangerous situations. So it looks good. It's, as we mentioned earlier, is the Husqvarna 115iPT4. It's battery operated, which obviously gives us the full freedom and flexibility to be able to go anywhere in the property, which is what we need the most. Yeah. We didn't order with the battery because the leaf blower, and we've got the Husqvarna leaf blower that came as a bundle with a battery, and with Husqvarna you can interchange your batteries. It does stretch up to 4 meters, which is amazing, and for us that's what we needed. We needed a pole saw that was really going to give us the length. A pole saw is basically like a mini chainsaw that's on the end of a very long pole. So it kind of looks like a little mini chainsaw.
Take it off.
So that's what it looks like. So the concept of it is that basically when you've got the thicker branches that you can't either reach with loppers or you can't get through with your standard loppers, proper branches, you'll be able to stand at the base of a tree and really be able to manage the tree and shape the tree in a safe way and be able to get through branches that require that extra power. So we'll get the battery charged and then we'll get out and get some pruning. Not sure if that's going to be today, but certainly later this week.
So we're going to start with the tree behind me. We're going to cut it at about 5 or 6 meters. We want it to develop into a nice round shape. We want it to bush out a little bit. As you can see, there's a lot of established trees around us, so we don't need any more big, tall trees in the front portion of our garden. This portion of the garden is on a bit of a slope, so we have tried to put a ladder into place and tried to use loppers. It is a bit precarious, it is a bit wobbly, so we're hoping that the pole saw is going to give us a little bit more stability because we'll be able to stand on the ground, extend the actual telescopic portion of it and saw the tops of the trees. So we're going to be adding the chainsaw oil now. This is the cap that comes off. Now I've got a funnel because this gap that you actually pour the oil through is really tight, and we've got a really big bottle of chainsaw oil, so pouring it in there is going to be a little bit tricky, which is why we're going to use the funnel. So in it goes. It has a little see-through plastic indicator that lets you see how much oil is in there. It doesn't take an awful lot of oil. I've just been pouring it in a little bit. It fills up in a hurry, so if you have got a big container like we do of chainsaw oil, just be quite careful of how you're actually pouring it in. So this is the 4 amp battery. It just slots in at the back. Push it in. It's got a little indicator that lets you see how much charge it is, so you can see it's fully charged. And that's it. Turning it on is really simple. You push the power button, hold that back, pull the trigger, and the saw starts working. So in order to get a little bit of extra length, you can actually adjust and give yourself an extra reach. To do that, you loosen the bottom portion of this like that, and then it slides out an additional meter or so of pole. Then you just tighten it back into place, and you got a nice long pole saw. So we've used this Husqvarna pole saw now for a couple of weeks. We've cut a big variety of different trees with it, from small branches to thicker ones. It's generally been very good. The trickiest thing, again, as we said earlier, is just getting in between certain branches. So if you're trying to get to a branch that's quite high up and there's branches next to it, they kind of push against the actual pole itself. So you have to kind of just push it across and then saw. But generally speaking, it's actually been a lot safer than getting up on a ladder.
Much safer.
With loppers or saws.
Especially if there's two of you, because at least I could stand back and I could direct him. So I could say, oh, you just need to go a little bit more to the left.
Yeah.
Because when you're standing underneath the tree, what you forget is that because you're not up in the tree
You
with
lose
the
all
ladder,
perspective.
you do lose
Yeah.
perspective. So when you're at the bottom, all you can see is green and branches and leaves, but you can't really see what's happening up above. So it's really handy if you've got a second person that can stand back and say a bit more to the left, a bit more to the right, whatever. I also think that what we've learned is that, and it might sound a bit silly, but using it, when you are using it, try to not stand directly underneath it. Obviously, you kind of, that's what your initial thing is to do, is to stand underneath it because you want to see where the blade's going.
And you're getting higher.
Yes.
But the closer you get to the tree, the higher you can reach.
But from a safety perspective, you know, not standing directly underneath something that's going to fall on you. But also I think what we've noticed is the control is better. So if you just go to where you want to stand directly underneath, see where you want the blade, and then take 1 or 2 steps back from that so that you have a bit more of an angle on it, it allows you to kind of push the pressure through the blade and gives you a bit of a more controlled cut. So that's what we found anyway. We're you know, not experts by any means. So I'm sure there's a lot of landscape gardeners out there, and if they're watching, they'll be, please share with us your advice on how to use this tool the best way and the safest way.
And this is basically a review for people that are not professionals like us, that are looking to invest in a pole saw to manage their trees. We're giving you the advice that we've discovered as first-time users, because there's definitely a learning curve to this. It's not as quick and seamless or as easy as the professionals make it look. Definitely. So
they're skilled. They're just, you know,
for sure.
As with all industries and all different types of things, when someone's so skilled and so trained at something, they always make it look easy, and you kind of think, oh, I can do that. But you know, obviously they spend a lot of time using this equipment, so they really know how to use it properly.
Unlike a strimmer or a lawnmower or something like that, you know, where you have used different ones, so if you get something a bit different, that learning curve's quite quick.
True.
We've used chainsaws now for 2 years, and there's very little transferable skills from the chainsaw to the pole saw. Purely because of, I think, the extension and the fact that you're sawing quite a long distance away from your body. So that has been, for me, the biggest learning curve. And
I think, you know, obviously we're on our own property, so we take our own health and safety and make our own decisions that we're comfortable with. But what I would say is, you know, wearing a hard hat is really not a bad idea if you're going to use this, because of the visibility and not being able to see where branches are falling. And you know, when you're going to be using a pole saw, you're probably going to be cutting through quite thick, dense branches. So for those to come crashing down onto your head is not going to be too fun at all.
Kirsten always kept her distance quite far away when I was actually sawing. I think on the instructions with us it says that people shouldn't be within a 15-meter radius of where you're actually sawing, and that does make sense, particularly if you're sawing long branches that can fall a long way and potentially hurt someone.
It has definitely been worth it though, and it really has allowed us to feel comfortable in the fact that we are now going to be able to manage a lot of trees ourselves, you know, without having to get a whole team of people in here.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that generally speaking though, I mean, we just bought the Husqvarna leaf blower, and now we've got the Husqvarna pole saw, and we've actually also bought our third Husqvarna, so we really are turning into Huskies, and that's the Husqvarna hedge trimmer. And I have to say, we haven't unpacked the hedge trimmer yet, so I'll kind of reserve judgment on that, but certainly for the leaf blower and for this pole saw, they've been very consistent with regards to kind of how they're designed, the quality, they all feel the same, look the same. You know, if you see something that is plasticky, it kind of feels durable. So I think that generally speaking we're impressed, and I'm glad that we've committed to Husqvarna for some of these tools, because I think it's a good brand, and I think that these are going to be tools that last us for a long time.
Yeah, I think so. So because we've cut more trees, we can comment a bit more about the battery now. It doesn't drain a lot of battery despite us cutting quite a lot of branches, and the reason for that is because you probably spend more time just getting into position before you actually physically saw. So even cutting maybe 20 or 30 branches in a session doesn't even dent our battery. That's a 4-amp battery, so where the leaf blower drained the battery quite quickly, this actual pole saw doesn't drain the battery in any significant way.
God, it's like an Arctic wind. It's just blown in my face.
The other convenience about this battery is only it takes about an hour to recharge, so you know it's not a hardship for you to leaf blow, even get the leaves into position, go upstairs, charge the battery, come back out, gather the leaves. By the time you've done that, the battery will be nearly recharged anyway. So from that perspective, that's why one battery is probably enough for our 3 Husky products.
And when it's weather like this, taking an hour out to have a nice hot cup of tea is it's really not too much of a hardship.
Taking a time out.
It's freezing.
I'm thinking about taking a time out right now.
It's freezing. So cold. So I think that's a wrap for this video. When we came out 15-20 minutes ago, it was lovely blue sky and sunshine, and it suddenly changed quite rapidly. We've got some really dark, big clouds coming in. The sun has disappeared, and the temperature is dropping really fast. We're getting some pretty cold northerly winds. So I think we're going to call a wrap on this one. But I hope you found this video interesting and useful, and it gave you some insights into this Husqvarna pole saw. And definitely stay tuned for the Husqvarna hedge trimmer that we'll be unpacking and reviewing soon.
So subscribe now if you don't want to miss out on that one. So thanks for watching.
See you on our next video.